Hello everyone, Jace here with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile. So I've been playing a lot of the Limit 1 Festival, especially on stream where you can see that in the card above. But this has been the deck I've been using, which is just Pendulum Suit. That's the best way to describe it. It has two different Pendulum decks smashed together into one because of the singleton format. So let's start off with the first part of the deck, which is then the majority, the Magicians. So, one Dragon Pit, one Time Gazer, one Performer Power Pendulum Sorcerer. It's not technically a Magician, but like, it searches out Skullcombat Joker, which searches out the Magicians, and it also searches out Celestial Magician, which is actually a Magician. We got Wisdom Eyes, Harmonizing, Double Iris, Black Fang, White Wing, and Purple Poison. Along with Stargazer, Oath Dragon, and the two sorcerers of Astrograph and Chronograph. So Astrograph is actually not very good in this format, mostly because you don't get a search off of Electromite by using it, so it's less useful. It's still good as an extender, and Chronograph is kind of the better version in this format, but like they're both still they both fulfill the same purpose of being extenders to create Electromite before a Pendulum summon by using either Astrograph or Chronograph. I mean, to summon out Stargazer or Time Gazer, but like they're still pretty good. Next up is the Endymions. I have one of Magister, one Servant. I don't know why I'm saying one because they're all at one. One Magical Abductor. This is not technically an Endymion, but it has spell counters on it, so it has synergy there. Jackal King and Endymion himself and Reflection, along with Master Cerberus and Jackal King. I already said Jackal King. But yeah, that's pretty much the main Pendulum core, along with a couple more extenders of the Supreme King Dragon Darkworm engine and the Curtain Raiser engine, using Foolish Burial or Dragon Shrine. Next up, I actually am running Hand Traps, because there's not really many other good Pendulums to play, so I just stuck in Effect Veiler, Max C, Ash, and Imperm. Those are all pretty decent staples. And then for generic stuff, there's just one Destrudo. It's mostly just another target for Dragon Shrine and Foolish Burial, because sometimes you run out of target for, you run out of Darkworms, like you draw them too early or something, and then you draw these later on, and it's still useful as long as Destrudo's in the deck. I also have Duelist Alliance and Pendulum Call, which are like the main two searchers of all the other Magician stuff to grab, along with Star Pendulum Graph and Time Pendulum Graph to grab off of the Double Iris. And I also just have another random going second cards of Raigeki and MST, just because back row is actually pretty prevalent, so I do want one piece of like non-monster based back row removal, and Raigeki is just decent in general. And for the extra deck, this is the pretty important part. It's mostly rares. Like most of the super rares are super and ultra rares you can cut, but these ones are most important. So Vortex and Absolute is very important because you have a bunch of level 7s, and they're basically your main play going first. Next up is Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. So Starving Venom is just great because you can just copy Electromite's effect. You can't FTK because no Verte, so searching out Instant Fusion and getting to Lyrilisk is pretty much impossible, and you don't have two copies, so you can't FTK anyway. So that's why I'm not really bothering with that engine. But it's still pretty important because even later on you can still copy an Electromite effect and get value off of that. One Meteor Burst Dragon because it's 7 that has support with Pendulums by special summoning one from the zone, and it's just the only real synchro I can make with Destrudo. Next up is Supreme King Clearwing Dragon, just a good card in general going second. Just clears your opponent's entire board, and it can destroy an opponent's monster before damage calc, which is nice. One Baron. This is technically cuttable, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's also one of your few interruptions going first. Because you can, as long as you don't draw the Oath Dragon and don't use it as a scale, you can summon it off of Harmonizing and just go into Baron. 1 Time Star. This honestly hasn't come up that often because it needs 2 Magicians, and there are not enough of them to actually make it very usable, but it's still pretty valuable because you can search any dark spellcaster, and it's not like deck space is really that tight with how like schizophrenic the deck list is because of the singleton format. 1 Dark Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. This is great for OTKs. I haven't had it come up yet, but if theoretically, if you get 2 Darks out and you can't make access code, you can still OTK with this because it just steals your opponent's monster's attack. 1 Baguska, it just like, if you get hand trapped, because it does happen even though it's a singleton format, you can still like plan B into Baguska to at least stall out a couple turns hopefully. Electromite, very important, obviously. It's basically the only reason this deck works in the singleton format, because as long as you turbo into Electromite, you can make a bunch of plays. 1 Cross Sheep, this could actually be any generic Link 2. I chose Cross Sheep because it has 2 downward pointing arrows, and the fusion effect comes up sometimes. It doesn't come up often enough, but like it's mostly important for the arrows, so you can actually pendulum summon downwards. 1 Triple Burst. This is just the easiest, cheapest Link 3 that I have. Like, you could, if you have like Zephyr Mellotron, that would also work. You could also use Decode Talker because that also has 2 downward point arrows, but I like Triple Burst because it actually has Piercing, which can come up sometimes. 1 Celine. This is pretty important because you're splashing in the Endymion stuff, so you do need spell counters around, and this just generates a bunch of them. Also, and it's also like the easiest Link 3 to go into Access Code Talker. Speaking of which, Access Code Talker, which is just the best OTK enabler. And Appaloosa, which is also one of your best going first options, because it's still pretty easy to make as long as you get Electromite out before your Pendulum summon. You can usually make Electromite into Absolutes to create Celine, and then go into Appaloosa and Vortex, basically. But yeah, that's a deck. So let me show you like 1 test hand to kind of get an idea of how this deck works. Okay, so I'm just testing out in solo mode, so I don't have to deal with actually playing it out. But, so this hand is actually pretty decent, so we're just going to start out with Dragon Shrine. Do not want to chain Maxi. Get the Dark Worm engraved, Dark Worm effect. This is just pretty standard Pendulum stuff. Since we opened 2 extenders, this is actually pretty good hand. Grab the Gate 0. Activate the Master Cerberus. We Duelist Alliance right now, probably. Just to grab Double Iris. Now we Master Cerberus to grab Jackal King, and then Jackal King to summon. Jackal King summons the Master Cerberus from deck. And now we can go into Electromite before the Pendulum summon, which is the ideal situation here. Normally, you don't usually open this many extenders, so this doesn't always happen. But when it does, it's very nice. Typically, you have to Pendulum summon before you Electromite, which is still fine in this format, mostly because the singleton format means people are less likely to open certain hand traps that would stop that, like Veiler and Imperm. They still do come up, so you do have to be aware of them. This format also lacks, like, really good, like, people don't really play a Nibiru, so if you do actually end up comboing off, people don't usually have a way of stopping it. And I forgot. This is still fine. I accidentally messed up and forgot to Afterdraft, but that's still fine. Just gonna Stargazer. And the reason it's still fine is because I can still get 2 level 7s out right now, just to make Vortex into Appaloosa, which is basically the main play you'll be making most of the time. So, yep, Absolute. Into Appaloosa right here, using Absolute, Electromite, and whatever third summon you have. I've kind of messed up the placing because you would rather summon Vortex right here, but that blocks off my zone right now, so Appaloosa should be summoned over here. But yeah, this is pretty much the end board you get. And we also have follow-up for next turn because of this. So yeah, this is pretty much the end board. You don't always get this, but usually you can at least make a Vortex or an Appaloosa. Jackal King doesn't always come up, but that's fine. So yeah, that's it for the video. We'll just go to end phase and see what happens next turn from the AI. I guess I'll grab Chronograph as follow-up. Yeah, this is nothing. And let's just finish this off with Raigeki. So yeah, there should be lethal if I'm counting correctly. Yeah. Off this, that gets negated. And let's just shuffle back the Dark Orb. Oh crap, that actually isn't lethal. Actually, it is lethal. Okay, no, I didn't mess up. Let's just finish this off. So yeah, that's the deck. So leave a comment down below what you think of this, and like and subscribe if you would like to see more deck profiles from me. But until then, see you guys next time. Bye.